Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Namaskar. Welcome to Chaitanya Studio at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Myself, Dr. Vinod L. Desai, working at Department of Computer Science, Sardar Patel University, Vidyanagar. Today, we will talk about JavaScript, introductions to JavaScript. During the sessions and at the end of the session, you will be in a position to know about the basics, fundamentals of JavaScript, how do we write a JavaScript, how do we execute JavaScript, syntax of JavaScript, various kinds of data types, literals, and typecasting. So now let's start. What is JavaScript and why do we need it? Generally, when we are trying to develop a web page, we are using HTML, and to make it more attractive, using CSS, cascading style sheet. But what if user wants something to be provided as an input and he or she wants output in terms of after the submission of a form or data? So for that, an interactive environment is required. So interactive environment is not supported by HTML or CSS. So for that purpose, the JavaScript comes into a picture. So through JavaScript, we can make our web page more interactive. That means whenever user enters any data and a certain kind of processing is required in a background, so through JavaScript we can fetch those data, process it, and send back to the client in terms of response. So generally the JavaScript was created in 1995 by Brendan Leach while he was an engineer at Netscape. So Netscape was the first to launch JavaScript. It was originally going to be named as LiveScript, but then later on it was renamed as a ECMA script. Actually, ECMA stands for European Computer Manufacturer Associations. So there was, we can say, a dilemma and confusion among the browsers communities. That means Netscape was supported by the Netscape. Then Internet Explorer was there, also supported by Microsoft. So they have, we can say, conflicts among their own LiveScript or the script that they have developed for the interactive purpose, interactive environment purpose. So what happened? The problem was that certain scripts were executing in a Netscape while certain scripts were not executing in a IE. At the same time, the certain scripts were able to execute on a IE while they were not executing on a Netscape Navigator. So to resolve this problem, both the vendors or the giant reached to the ECMA, and later on the ECMA has resolved the issues with a new script and it was named as ECMA script. But the script was mostly syntactically and other ways it was matching with the Java. So later on it was more popularly known as JavaScript. So this was all about the history, that how JavaScript evolved and how it was renamed to a JavaScript actually. So JavaScript is a lightweight, cross-platform, single-threaded and interpreted compiled programming language. As we already said that it is we can say based on the syntax of Java, and it supports most probably all the features of Java except few. Then we can say that it definitely is a platform independent. It is lightweight as written using the Java, and it supports single-threaded, and it is also an interpreted language. Okay. JavaScript is weakly typed language. That means it is dynamically typed. So what does it mean? That means we doesn't need to specify the data type while declaring a variables in a script. During runtime, it will be specified and decided that what kind of data has been provided, and based on that the data type will be decided for the particular variable that has been declared. JavaScript can be used for client-side development as well as for the server-side developments. JavaScript contains standard library of objects like array, date, math, and core set of language elements like operators, control structures, and statements. It is a structure of your page like headers, body, text, and images you want to include. It basically defines the contents of a web page. That means when we are talking about JavaScript, it is all about behavior of a web page, while HTML defines the structure of a web page. CSS controls the appearance or we can say look of the web page. JavaScript is the third element. Once you have created your structure, HTML and visual vibe, appearance or look using CSS, JavaScript comes into the pictures for the dynamic environment or updatable. As we said that it works at both ends, at client side as well as at server side. So it supports objects to control a browser and it in the form of document object model. If client side extensions allows an application to place elements on an HTML form and responds to the user events such as mouse click, form input and page navigation. User libraries or useful libraries for the client side are AngularJS, React.js, Vue.js and so many others which are widely used in today's IT industry. Server side, if you are talking about server side JavaScript, then it supplies objects relevant to running JavaScript on the server. If the server side extensions allows an applications to communicate with a database and provide continuity of information from one invocations to another of the application or perform manipulations on a server. The useful framework which is the most famous these days is a Node.js. So Node.js generally works at the server side, not at client side. It is a compiled and interpreted or both. That means JavaScript is both compiled and interpreted. In the earlier versions of JavaScript, it is used only the interpreter that executed code line by line and shows the result immediately. But with time, that performance became an issue as interpretation is quite slow as it goes line by line, and if there is an error in a one line, then it displays the error. We have to resolve it and again it goes to the next line. So it was taking more time as it being interpreted. Therefore, in the newer versions of JavaScript, probably after the version 8, the JIT compiler was also incorporated to optimize the executions and display the result more quickly. This JIT compiler generates a bytecode that is relatively easier to code. This bytecode is set of highly optimized instructions. On further executions, the version 8 engine finds patterns such as frequently executed functions and frequently used variables and compiles them to improve performance. Various applications are there in which JavaScript are widely used. Among that, web applications, today's web applications are using JavaScript to make it more interactive and efficient. In mobile applications also, a React Native is used to develop the mobile-based applications. In a web-based games, the JavaScript is widely used. Machine learning also uses ML5 JS library can be for the web development by using machine learning. In a backend web development, JavaScript has traditionally been used for developing front-end parts of the applications. With the help of Node.js, JavaScript made it ways for the client to server and Node.js powerful on the server side. Now, after learning or discussing the basics of JavaScript, its history, and at client side how it works, at server side how it supports using the Node.js, it's time to talk about writing JavaScript and linking this JavaScript with our, we can say, HTML page or a web page. So there are two types of JavaScripts available and we can write for our web page. One will be the internal JavaScript and second one will be the external JavaScripts. Internal JavaScript if we want to write, then we will simply use a tag script and within that we need to write the code whatever we want to execute. Generally, whatever script text we will write, that will directly goes to either a head section or in a body sections. So depending on the requirements, we can either use this script or we can say dynamic scripting in our web page. Now let's have a look practically how do we add JavaScript in our web page. So let's have a look at one HTML page. We will write head section. Under the head section, okay, we will have title, JavaScript. We are closing the title. Okay, then we can say if you want to write a script, then you can write a script within the head or even body. So if we are interested in a internal JavaScript, then we will write a script tag like this. We need to close it, okay, and then after we will close the HTML tag, okay. And if you want a body, then you can have a body tag as well, but we are not writing anything like this within the body. And if you want to write, just write a message, welcome to Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, simply, okay. Now this is a script. Let's save it. We will save it on somewhere like on the desktop, okay. We are saving this file on a desktop, test.html, okay. It's already exists, but we are going to replace it. Now we haven't written anything in a script, but let's test how it executed, how it is going to execute. This is a test.html. We will execute, okay. So it displays a message, welcome to Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. As we haven't written anything in a script tag, so it is not going to display anything, okay. But if you want to write a code in a JavaScript, we need to use the syntax of the JavaScript and the different objects along with their methods. So simply if you want to display any message, then there is a common function of window object, that is an alert, okay. So the alert message simply pops up a message, okay, simply like hello, okay. If you want to test whether our script executes or not, then we will simply use an alert functions, okay. So the alert will pop up with a hello message, so that we can understand that our script works fine. Now let's refresh our web page, okay. It is not, we can say, so the double R is there, spelling mistake. Let's remove it, again refresh. So now as you can see that it pops up with a hello alert message. So on this way we can make sure that our JavaScript or the script tag is working fine, okay. Just click on the OK, and then after our body tag will execute with a message or content we have contained in the body part, okay. So this is all about, we can say, a internal JavaScript, okay. So this way we can add an internal JavaScript to our web page. Now about the external JavaScript. So what is external JavaScript? So we need to create a scripting file in a new window or in a new editor or a new window of an editor, and that file will be saved with an extension.js, okay. And once we have an external JavaScript file, we need to embed it to our web page or an HTML file, okay. So generally to embed an external JavaScript in our, we can say, HTML file or a web page file, then we need to use a link tag, okay. We need to use a link tag. Let's have, or we can say simply first create a scripting another JavaScript file. Let me to show you how do we do this, okay. So this is another new window where we will create a variable, okay. The variable will be declared using the var keyword in a Java, or we can JavaScript, and we can have any variables like name, okay. And we can specify the value using in a name like this, Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, okay. And then after, if you want to have an alert message, then we can use alert, and we can provide we can write the same syntax as we are using in Java to display any message, like the name is, okay. Then after we will append it with a plus operator and the name variable, okay. So this is simply one JavaScript that we want to execute externally, okay. But after embedding in our HTML file, we will save it, again on the desktop with a test dot extension would be .js. Okay, JavaScript is having an extension of .js. Save it. Okay, we have saved it. Now what we will do, we will embed this external JavaScript in our, okay, we are so internal JavaScript doesn't need route, so we will just comment it, or you can remove this alert message from here. Okay, and we need to embed it using the script tag. Then after, see the syntax. To embed it, we need to have a type, attribute of the script tag, and the source attribute of the external JavaScript file. So we will provide it type is equal to, the value would be text / JavaScript, and source would be our external JavaScript file. The path, whole path, if it is not on the same directory, then we have to provide the full path. Okay, so type would be, see here the first attribute is type. So we will write type is equal to text / JavaScript, and next is attribute is source. So we will provide source is equal to our JavaScript file name. As both are on the desktop, so we doesn't need to provide any path. We will directly write the file name. Okay, and then after we will see, we will end the script. Okay, simply, or we can say, if you want to add another, then you can write like this, script tag. Okay, script tag. Okay, we are closing it. So we have now embedded external JavaScript to our HTML page. Now let's see an external JavaScript. What we have written, we have simply declared a variable and we want to message it, okay, the value of that variable in a web page. So now just again we will refresh the web page and check whether it works or not. See here now. Our external JavaScript is embedded in our web page and it displays the message using the alert function that name is BAOU. So it works fine. So this way we can have, or we can write a JavaScript in our HTML page or web page either internal or in an external manner, internally or externally. Next we will talk about data types and literals. What the data type, as I told you that it is a dynamically typed language, so we will not specify any data type. We will simply declare the variable using the var keyword as we did just a few seconds ago, and then after we will specify the value of that variable, and based on the value provided to the variable, the data type will be decided at execution during execution time. So you can use either let or simply, unlike var keyword which declares global scope variables, so when we are using a var, it is having a global scope, but when you are using a let keyword, it is having a local scope. Okay, so amount, here you can say that we have two variables, amount and withdraw. So amount is having a local scope or block level scope, while the withdraw variable is having a global scope. Okay, then after, just if you want to print, okay, what we were doing over here, okay, let me to show you again. If you want to display the message, okay, instead of alert, if you want to display anything on the browser, then there is a document object and its method is, okay, let me to write a document object is there, and it is having various methods. Among that, the one method is write, document dot write, and then after you can write the same content as we are passing to the alert function. Okay, let me to copy paste so that we can save the time. So document dot write will allow us to display the message on the browser. Okay, let us test it again. See, the name is BAOU, and then after the body content is going to be displayed. So either way you can test the JavaScript, okay, content in a browser. So document.write allows us to print a message on the browser. JavaScript literals are the fixed value or constants and that can't be changed. You do not need to specify any type of keywords to write literals. Okay, a JavaScript literals can be numeric, string, floating point value, a boolean value, or even we can say a null value. In simple words, any value is literal. Okay. Data types and literals. So JavaScript is dynamically typed, as we already discussed. Data type will be decided during execution. Strong different types of values to a variable during programming. The latest ECM script standard defines 8 data types, out of which 7 data types are primitives and 1 complex or non-primitive. So these primitive data types are, we can say, string data type, boolean, number kind of things. These are the most common data types. Okay. While reference or composite data types are there, which contains an object data type. So an object data type is used to store a collection of data. Object properties are written as a key value pair, which are separated by commas and enclosed within a curly braces. As mentioned over here, that there is a name variable and it is having a value in a curly braces. Okay, suppose we are declaring a customer variable, then it is having a number of key value pair or with the name of first name, then last name, then salary, etc. So this way we can have an object data type. Then the second one is an array data type. We can declare the one-dimensional array and two-dimensional array in JavaScript. At the same way we are working in Java. So we can, the box bracket is used, or we can say square bracket is used to declare the array in a JavaScript. As per examples, that variable city, we have a number of cities like Anand, Baroda, Gandhinagar, Surat, Somnath, etc. And we can access it using the index, and index starts with a 0. That means city of 0 will display Anand and city of 2 will display Gandhinagar. Third one is function data type. Okay, so in JavaScript, function acts as a data type which can be assigned to a variable. JavaScript functions is nothing but a set of statements inside a code block which is used to perform a specific operation, and this data type is callable in nature. You can call it anywhere in the program whenever needed. Since functions are objects, so it is possible to assign them to a variable. Okay, the example is like this: variable message equal to functions, and then after we are returning a value from the functions, and that will be assigned to a variable. So there is a function data type. Then certain special data types are there, like undefined data types, null data types. Okay, undefined data types is a variable just declared and is not assigned any value. It has undefined as its value. Undefined is a valid data type in JavaScript, and it can have only one value, which is undefined. For example, if we are declaring variable number and we are not assigning any value, then it is known as an undefined data type. Null data types. The JavaScript null data types is used to represent a null or no value, we can say. It is not similar to undefined, and neither it is similar to empty value or zero value. The null data type means that the variable has been defined, but it contains no value. Okay, the null data type can have only one value, which is null. Okay, so it is very important to understand the difference between undefined and null. Okay, it is not similar. Next is typecasting. But before we proceed, okay, let's understand practically the object data type and type of, we can say, concepts. Okay, so let's have the object data type. Here we have declared simply in a script tag. You can see the persons is declared as an object and having the variable key value pairs like X is BAOU, Y is MCA, Z is, we can say, having a numerical floating value, and another is, you can say, city value in the form of another variable. So total 4, we can say, key value pairs is there. Now if you want to display this object, then along with their values or keys, we can say, then we can associate this key using the object name, that is person.x, person.y, like all the other terminologies. So if you execute this program, we can understand how object behaves. See here in a alert message, all the key value pairs are displayed, okay, in a alert message while executing the object. Okay, same way, if the type of operator is there, Okay, type of operator helps us to define what kind of type a value is carrying forward. Okay, so based on the value we have provided, it will display the type of a specified value. Okay, in a alert message we have provided various values in terms of number, string, floating values. Okay, and we can say other operations as well. So let's test it again. So it will provide the specifications, or we can say having what kind of data type our value is carrying. So first one is string, as BAOU is there, then we can say number data type, a value of 314, then number again, then object is there and number is there. Okay, so this way we can understand the type of a particular as type of X. So X is nothing but an object, so it provides the type of as an object in the alert message. So this way we can have an idea regarding the various data types in terms of regular primitive data types as well as object data types, and at runtime we can come to know if you want to decide what kind of data type a variable is carrying using the type of operators. Next is all about typecasting. So there are two types of typecastings, implicit and explicit. Implicit is automatic type conversion. JavaScript automatically converts one data type to another. When a number is added to a string, JavaScript converts the number to a string before concatenation. JavaScript considers 0 as false and all non-zero number as true. And if true is converted to a number, the result is always 1. So this is implicit conversion, and if you want to understand implicit conversions, we already executed in the first example. So simply let me to show you in a JavaScript, this one. Okay, suppose in the name, if I am not providing a string, but if I will provide a value like 100, so now at runtime 100 is a number data type, so name will be considered as number, but when I am going to display it using the function write, then this string will convert this variable into a string during runtime. Okay, so this is an implicit conversion, a simple way. While explicit conversion, it is a manual type conversion. Explicit type conversions are done using built-in methods. To convert numeric string and Boolean values to numbers, you can use number. You can also generate numbers from string using parseInt, parsefloat, unary operators, plus and math.floor functions. To convert other data types to strings, you can use either string or toString methods. String takes null and undefined and converts them to string. However, toString gives error when null are passed. To convert other data types to a Boolean, you can use Boolean function. In JavaScript, undefined, null, 0, not a null converts to false. These sessions we have talked about the introductions of JavaScript, writing a JavaScript with its syntax, how do we add an internal JavaScript as well as how do we write external JavaScript in a web page. Then after we have discussed the data types and literals, how do we declare various kinds of data types and use it in our web page along with the literals, and how it is going to be converted implicitly as well as explicitly. Thank you.